Alright. Akira is a science fiction animated film from 1988 directed by Katsuhiro Otomo. The film follows two friends, Tetsuo and Kaneda, members of a biker gang. After a run-in with a mysterious child on the road, Tetsuo is arrested by a government organization. Kaneda then sets out amongst Neo-Tokyo in the midst of social unrest and upheaval to find and save his friend. As many of you know, Akira was a huge step forward for the breakthrough in Japanese animation in the West. Its violent and mature images paint a portrait of a city and time of great moral downfall. The story takes place after World War III and is described as post-apocalyptic, although to the eye it is far removed from the wasteland crumbled city description of post-apocalyptic movies we know in the West. But the Neo-Tokyo we see is the cause of an apocalyptic event, described by the introduction of the film and the post-war setting. Throughout the film's first act or so, we follow Tetsuo and Kaneda and their biker gang as they face off against a rival gang. In other parts of the city, mass protests break out into violence, and an injured man and a gray-faced child run from dogs and other unseen forces among the streets. We are also introduced to Kei and Ryu, who are part of a resistance force. Ultimately, we see these stories collide, and the rest of the film explores the secrets of Neo-Tokyo's underground and governmental operations. I think that this premise and setting are really interesting, but ultimately I think the film is a bit cramped, which makes sense, considering that it was only adapted from the first 2 or so volumes of the 6-volume manga that it comes from. I think that some breathing room would have increased some character development and world development, and I think that would have helped it overall. But I think what we do have is still a very good action-packed mystery sci-fi movie. Visually, Akira is pretty remarkable, considering the amount of explosions and fog and effects throughout the movie. It's a definite achievement in animation. The color and composition of many of the shots also are quite nice and breathe a lot of life into the world of Neo-Tokyo, especially in the earlier scenes. I watched the sub because I'd much rather have the original voice performances over not having to read, and I don't mind reading subtitles at all anyway, unless it's Cowboy Bebop, Ping Pong, the animation, or Fooly Cooly, etc., etc. I'm probably going to go with the sub, and I think the first time I watched Akira, I went with the dub, so this time I definitely wanted to go with the sub. The music of Akira is also a very big standout. There's a lot of percussive instruments used, and most of it just feels very different from any other kind of film score that I've ever heard. Like the tribal breathing, that sounds like it would come from like a Kanye West album. So I appreciate Akira for what it did to boost Japanese animation in the West, and it is technically really great. But as far as the story and character goes, I still think it could have used a little bit of work, and I still feel a little bit cold on those. In other words, I think Akira is a good movie, and if you haven't seen it, you probably should.